of the biggest problems of modern society is that you got these moral busybodies that no one elects, no one wants them to be in charge of our democracy, but they are very concerned about percentages. So they're going to look at various aspects of society, and if it doesn't have like 50% men, 50% women, then clearly there is sexismus afoot. It is up to them to find it. The question isn't even if it is existing. It's like, well, the numbers don't make out, Mason. And it's the same thing. It's like if it doesn't have like 50% representation, racismus, the big brain moral busybody concludes. It doesn't have enough gays, homophobismus, transmophobismus, right? And it's an entire industry of people that are incredibly well paid to think like this and to shove their ideology down our throats. But like, here's an interesting aspect. You got this very beautiful wishy-cushy lady, Leah Robson, right? Like appearing to me on my screen at the BBC, and she is challenging the notion that women can't be plumbers. Now, do you think she wants her daughter to be a plumber? Unironic question. Assuming she has children, because I do not know. Do you think that the people who work at BBC, I want you to close your eyes and imagine, like those wealthy journalists that sook the taxpayer money through the BBC loises, right? And they're surrounded by champagne and luxuries in their air conditioning offices that pollute and hurt Mother Gaia. Do you think they want their children to become plumbers? Legit question, unironically, and I will tell you the answer. For the last decades, the working class has been stigmatized by the people who consider themselves to be the intellectual elites, the intellectual artillery. Correct me if you have not heard this, at least culturally speaking, you need to go to university in order to avoid doing manual labor. I mean, this is rooted in our culture. It is ingrained. Like, how dare you go become a plumber? You need to become a prestigious gender studies expert. A person that uses the magnifying glass to uproot the sexism and misogyny in our society. You need to become the prestigious diversity officer, not the trucker, right? I mean, isn't that correct? Like the culture encourages people to go to university even though they do a degree that the economy cannot even absorb. Like that is the correct moral uprighting thing. This is where our children need to go. But if you suggest that maybe, someone should become part of the working class, what? This guy did not study when he grew up. Why didn't he want to become an intellectual, right? So this is one of the main reasons why not just women, but people in general avoid being working class. And obviously, not only that is the prestige, right? You will never see a statue lifted for a trucker. Like even during the pandemic when trucking was very difficult to come by because they had all these rules and regulations set in place and, shutting down the restaurants and the hotels. It was very difficult for truckers to have long distance hauls. But even then, they would never raise a statue for a trucker, but for a university professor, And it's interesting because even women's mindset is reflected on that. Like, I have spoken with truckers in working class who are making a lot of money. Like, there was a time during the pandemic when a trucker was making around $6,000 a month. And women didn't appreciate that. They were like, oh, but you're a trucker. Yeah, a trucker. Why not a CEO? Like, that is the mentality. So, to pretend that doesn't exist. And then when you read the article, you find out just how much bullshit there is in it. Like, they will point out that less than 2% of women are plumbers. And then they will also chastise men for being stereotypical. And if they see an actual woman that happens to be a plumber, they will be like, do you happen to live here? Oh, no, I'm just the plumber, right? So they believe that it's because of this stereotype that more women don't want to be truckers. Are you insane? Like, if you have a bag with 10,000 balls in it, and 98% of the balls are blue, and 2% are red, if I reach into the bag and I ask you what color is the ball going to be, what are you going to say, huh? Like, do you think it's a difficult question? I mean, surely, the moment the woman says, yeah, I happen to be a plumber, people go, oh, okay, well, fine. It's not like it contradicts their version of reality, they will be like, oh, that's interesting, okay. But to claim that this is why women do not want to become plumbers is incredibly disingenuous, and it just shows that you're ignorant and you have a strong lack of education. The reason women do not want to become plumbers, number one, is the, as I mentioned before, lack of prestige for doing working class labor. The encouragement to go to university. I mean, there was an entire campaign, especially in Britain, to push more women into STEM. And not to mention that it's a job that not everyone can do. While I do have a lot of respect for plumbers, I would never be able to do what they do, to go down into the sewer covered in human feces in order to fix the pipes there, or to go into a house and unclog the sink or the toilet. It's a very necessary job. Someone has to do it. Probably why it's so well paid, but at the same time, it's very difficult. Can be considered backbreaking labor in some cases, depending on what type of plumbing you do, of course. But still, you know, like to come up with the idea that it's sexismus to blame. Yeah, women don't want to be covered in shit. Oh my god, sexismus. Outrageous. But I'll tell you what it's all about, right? It's a grift. These people are consultants. They are not plumbers. Fancy how that works, right? Because they're above the plumbing. Like, they look at plumbers as the people doing the menial tasks. They look at plumbers the same way journalists were looking at coders and felt very insulted on Twitter when they were told to learn to code. Because they're above the code. Just like these consultants are above the plumbing. So they will shame companies. They will slander and libel corporations, calling them misogynistic, unless they hire them as consultants. And once they become consultants, they will do all of these bullshit things that do not work. Like, for example, oh, the reason women aren't plumbers is because they don't see themselves in commercials. Oh. So now you have, like, a congratulations, a commercial that doesn't fit with reality. Because, as you posted in your article, only 2% of plumbers are women. So you're looking at this commercial and it's freaking bizarre. But okay, fine. You know, the other thing is, oh, they do not support flexible working hours, and they do not have separate toilets for women. They do not have clothes. Like, women have to buy their own clothes when they go there. Yeah, oh my god, I never heard about a company that tells you to buy your own uniform. I mean, that's... alright. Why aren't there an army of freelancers that happen to be women working as plumbers? Because, like, all of these issues that you talked about can be fixed, right? Most plumbers that I know are freelancers. They get to set their own working times. They get to set how many customers they want. They do not need toilets or uniforms or anything like that, because they go to the customer's house and they can wear whatever, you know, like, just have like some work clothes that you bought, and those are yours, and those are the ones you go to work with. Why is it that? Oh, because you not only are a consultant, but you're full of shit. Like, none of your solutions are going to work, but of course you want the money for it, because that's what's interesting with these consultants. They offer these suggestions, which sometimes are detrimental for the company, because they may end up firing someone that has been working there for 10 years and has the experience, and they're going to hire someone new just because they have the correct gender. All of a sudden, they know what a woman is. And that person may not be able to perform as well as someone who has been at the company for 10 years. But even then, you know, like, they may still not achieve the quota that is desired. Like, how do you get from 2% all the way to 50? Right? So you want, and again, like, I will change my mind when I see politicians, journalists, and consultants encouraging their daughters to become plumbers. And I'll be like, okay, you know what? I was wrong. I mean, they actually do love this profession, and they actually do want this profession to be filled by more people that looks like them, huh? Is this the correct phrasing? Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.